All right, what's up, guys? So, Toastify has uploaded a video titled "The Sins of Synnibear ScootalooLovesSans." Is that like their original name or something? I don't know, but anyways, yeah, I never really had sat down and watched any videos on Synnibear. Yeah, Synnibear wasn't the name. I didn't start hearing it until last year. With the obvious person that I know that I guess, is a big fan of Synnibear and stuff. I'm like, I'd still to this day, I don't think I will ever properly understand that. There's content creators that I used to like where, yeah, they get called out for some crap, like EDP, for an example, EDP 445. I was a fan of him. But yeah, once when all that stuff had came out about what he did, it's like, yeah, I had a video on my channel with it was a reaction video and it was over 100,000 views. And probably if I would have kept that video up, and it was an EDP video too, but if I had kept that video up, it probably would have had more views. And so, yeah, that's why I was like, nah, man, I gotta do what's like the right thing pretty much. I gotta do what's morally right. Cause yeah, I can see right now if I probably would have still had that video up, that would have been the narrative that it's like, oh, you support EDP, and it's like I don't. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, they were some it was like good reaction videos, but that was just at the point in time when, we all thought that EDP, like, yeah, he had like a wild side to him, but we didn't think it was that bad and stuff. So but nah, man, let's go ahead, check out this video. Make sure if you guys haven't, Toastify is a name that I've heard quite a few different times and stuff. So yeah, make sure if you guys haven't, go subscribe to Toastify. But anyways, check out this video. It's an hour and 1 minute. Most likely it's gonna be 2 hours if I'm pausing and talking a lot. So
yes, go. You go. No, just go.
Because I still care about him. I still love him.
You groomed them. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
I'm hoping that we'll both be able to live a normal life together, and we can help each other, and maybe I can show
think that's
them
when
the
she was
love and
talking to her
understanding that
roommate.
they never got. I was going to make a video talking
because her roommate, they were the ones that put out all this stuff about her twisted like, I guess, like, just behind the scenes life and things. Yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, yeah, it's my thing is this, like, if you know some stuff like that, yeah, you gotta talk about it. It's like you can't just not say things and then next thing you know there's more and more victims piling up. Yeah, can't do that. So
a recent document that was released about me. I've been an irresponsible content creator, and I've been acting inappropriately towards my fans.
It's like it takes you getting canceled to realize that.
Synnibear03 is a name that's become synonymous with the word degenerate in the last year, thanks to an incredibly high-profile controversy about her interactions with a minor. But how most people have seen her, from her fights over cats or the explicit comics in her DMs, is only a snippet of Synni's online history. Once known as ScootalooLovesSans, Synni was a part of the animation meme community, and represented some of its highest peaks. At only 14 years old, her short videos went viral, one of them gathering over 20 million views.
Dang.
Yet, when hearing of Synni's name, even in a situation directly about her, it's interesting how much she becomes an afterthought in the shadows. It all seems to be more focused on a crazed roommate or delusional defenders. Almost no one looks past the recent events and how her reputation was once as a golden child of her own community. You realize that Synni's story is a perfect painting of a spiral from childhood fame. The many dramas she racked up along the way were mere tremors of what was to come. So, who is, or rather,
that's one thing I feel like should
Synnibear03.
Pause at a different moment. Some people might not like the blood stuff and things, but okay, so I'm like, now let's pause and say, yeah, I just think that at times, like with some creators, is that when you get into content, because I know I had gotten into content creating at a young age, and I felt like that in the situations that I was putting myself in at the time, like it was very humbling to where I'm like, okay, I can't, because I think the only crazy thing I remember doing was hating on Ray William Johnson. That was about it, and it was a humbling situation. I was like, no, I can't go through, or I can't like continue being a person like this. Like, no, I have to, do better and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things where, when you get into it in a young age, I feel like if you don't have the right people people in your ear telling you what's right and what's wrong, that yeah, you'll grow up and do some crap like that. But not all cases, but yeah, it's like you'll do something crazy and things. But yeah, that's why it's like, you gotta have the right people in your ear to let you know, like, hey, there is an evil side to the internet that you need to avoid. But anyways, got some people out there that's like, they don't care. They still want to put themselves in the situation of getting
Cynthia Totsky was
canceled.
born on September 22nd, 2003, in Springfield, Missouri. Her last name, sounding so stereotypically un-American, stems from her being a quarter Polish, as well as being able to speak some Russian. Cynthia and her family moved around Missouri through her life, going from Springfield to Independence and then to Lee Summit, where she studied in Lee Summit West High School. This single presentation for school from 2018, found out there in the online ether on some forgotten account, tells us some interesting information. Cinny claims to have previously worked in a GameStop, and had a vested interest in video games, referencing Zelda, Mario, and Minecraft in a mock-up business card. She would later graduate from high school with a diploma. Cinny grew up as a Christian, something expected from the American South. From what we can discern, her life at home was still generally stable, although Cinny's parents seemed to be more controlling, constantly looking over everything she was doing. When she started a YouTube career, they would set up a bank account that she could put her earnings in, but withheld her earnings from her until she was 18. The family also had some mental health issues, with Cinny's father and younger brother having ADHD, and Cinny herself being autistic. Cinny has also attributed some unfortunate incidents to her early life, claiming to have been sexualized by adults and traumatized. Cinny had an interest in art from the age of 2.
I remember hearing that. That was a thing going around after all the crap had happened, because I did kind of like look into the Synnibear stuff. And yeah, that was, I think I heard something. I just don't remember exactly where, but I remember hearing something like that.
And most likely took up similar subjects in school. However, it wasn't until her dad bought her a computer that she would be able to publicly express that art through the internet. Cinny joined both YouTube and DeviantArt in March 2014, but wouldn't be active on either platform until the year after. Being only around 13 at the time, Cinny's interests were in stuff that appealed to young girls at the time, and it was the My Little Pony series in particular that captured her imagination. One of the MLP characters would become a basis for her first online name, Scootaloo. Although this might be a little unfamiliar now, old viewers of her will recognize this name far better than Synnibear. From her start, Cinny's understanding of technology seems remarkably solid for the time. Her early videos in 2015 were made with YouTube's video editor, even with the MS Paint she used. Some of them featured stop motion with her toys, others were recorded speed paints and eventually full animation. Even her first public video is a short story based on a real experience of a friend that she made, moving away and later reconnecting with her online. As per usual, the story is represented by MLP avatars. Cinny's online activity would eventually draw her towards an emerging subsect of the wider online art community, driven by a trend of short repetitive animations over specific parts of music or audio. It became what we know nowadays as the animation meme community, but back in 2016 it was still in its early stages, and a new young generation of artists were coming online and making YouTube channels. Synnibear would be drawn towards a section of this animation meme community, populated entirely by young tweens who fangirled over the character Sans from Undertale. Cinny's arrival wasn't by mistake. She had adored Undertale and Sans in particular before coming across them. And in short, all these fangirls would essentially obsess over Sans, draw him in romantic situations with their OC, mashing up their OC with him, you get the idea. This is where you get the second half of Cinny's old online alias, ScootalooLovesSans. But would you know that fangirling is no easy feat? Over time,
I'm like, this was content that, because I know people will probably ask, like, did I hear of any of this? Honestly, no. Like 2016, I'm trying to think, because I was in a completely different side of the internet and stuff. So, but I do feel like I remember where it was like the My Little Pony community and stuff, like that was somewhat, because I remember there was a series where it was like, I think it was the same thing where it was like they were killing each other and it was like all bloodied and stuff. So yeah, I think that was the most I had ever heard of that. I don't know if that was the right thing or not, but yeah, it was kind of hectic with that line of content, the My Little Ponies killing each other, because that was, if some of you guys had like kind of looked into my dramas, there was this kid named Glenn Gregan that was like, he really wanted me to react to those videos. And I didn't care for them. I was like, this just isn't content that I like, and I'm not trying to have it where I'm reacting to people's content and they can visibly see that I don't like it. Like, I want to have respect for people's videos and their channels and stuff. So like how I'm talkative and I'm interested in this video, fam, when I was watching that video, I was just kind of just sitting there and like, oh, okay, it's cool, I guess, you know. And that was because I remember I seen one of the videos, and then I was like, it was another video that I ended up reacting to, and then I was like, nah, I can't do this. Like, I can't have this video be I guess like on YouTube for a long, because people are gonna see that I don't like the video. And I don't, and even the creators themselves, I don't want that. So yeah, took the video down. That Glenn Gregan kid, he went crazy. I'm like, that's one of those things where I'm just, that's why it's just, there were some communities that I just didn't really get myself involved in or pay too much attention to, because yeah, it was bad. It was pretty bad. But anyway,
jealous individual or ambitious troll would hate raid your video or draw them literally killing your character if you posted about loving Sans too much. Most of these young Sans fangirls would eventually reply with the same tactics. Interestingly though, as a late arrival, Synni went against the grain, pledged to not harass or attack anyone, and began to drift away from this small online space. Her inspiration for doing so was a so-called light of happiness within the Sans fangirls, a young animator who, unlike everyone else, seemed to spread joy. His name was Birdie.
Then I came across this one channel named Birdie the Parrot Sans' waifu, who eventually renamed herself Birdie. Just Birdie. And I looked at her channel, and I thought, whoa, this is cool. She's doing like the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And she has so many fans, and people love her. And then I thought, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it the right way. I'm not gonna harass anyone. I'm not gonna try killing anyone over the internet, because that's stupid. So if I'm gonna do what everyone else is doing, I'd better do it right.
During early 2017, Birdie became one of the first Sans fangirls to enter the wider animation meme community, and his animations quickly shot him up to success. Synni felt that he was different from the rest, a beacon of positivity and inspiration, but Birdie had been internalizing these same behaviors he tried to escape, and didn't draw the line of obsession as fictional. Despite his seemingly decent talent for the time, and his videos doing well, fame would lead to a 12-year-old Birdie showing off his violent habits and possessive nature to thousands. He would become obsessed with fellow YouTubers and animators within the community to the point of no return. What didn't help was that the community was mostly populated by people under the age of 15, including Synni, which doesn't bode well with the sexual and suggestive themes shown in some of their videos, only obscured by a frankly useless 13+ warning. Despite all the controversy, Synni was still a big fan of Birdie's work and animations, and began making her own animation videos. She would eventually start to gain some...
It's like, that's, I guess, I don't know, with me, like, when I was 13, because that's actually when I had created this channel, when I was 13 years old. And I was like, YouTube was different. I feel like, to my defense, that YouTube was very different when I was 13 versus, them when they were 13 getting into content creation and stuff. I feel like that there was more of a plan, I guess, when uploading, because back when I was 13 getting into, you just posted whatever. Like, it didn't matter whether it had a plot or if it didn't have a plot. You post like random clips and things, and yeah, it was that's what YouTube was, at least for me and stuff. But yeah, as the years went on, then that's when I realized, like, YouTube is changing. There's more like of an idea, I guess, like when creating a video and stuff, because yeah, it was like back then, it's just, if you've seen the very, very first YouTube video where it's like the guy is at the zoo or something like that, that's what YouTube was. Like, that's what like content creation was. Now you see where people, it's like they have a little bit more to provide when it comes to YouTube videos, because yeah, man, YouTube back then, it was like you just, whatever video, it was kind of like social media in a sense, where it's like Twitter, for an example, where it's all like, oh, like heading to the gym, You know, and it's just like some like random, but like that's what video was. Like it'll be a 15-second of you just walking down the street, just being like, yeah, guys, heading to the gym. I'm like, see you whenever, and things. And video gets like 10,000 views and stuff. And back then that was like 1,000,000 views. And so yeah, YouTube, it was very different. But anyways,
traction, and even received a small shout out from her at the time idol.
I have a lot of fans now, and, well, people like me. And I found out that Birdie likes me. Birdie the parrot. I found out, like, a few days ago. She put me in one of her videos, and I freaked the hell out. I was so excited that I could not stop giggling, and my dad thought I was insane.
However, unlike Birdie, whose potential was then pile-drived into the murky waters of personal drama, Synni did the opposite. She locked in, worked on multiple animations, and started pumping them out every week with fairly good quality for them all. Considering she's around 13 at this time, I have to really commend her work ethic here. She's got a better upload schedule than most YouTubers nowadays. The ability to post this much as a young animator is incredibly impressive, and she was rewarded well, as her videos are now some of the most viewed in the animation meme community.
When I was 13, I was on some business where it's like, you know how like Pennywise, like he'll come out every 27 years. That's how I posted my content. It was like I didn't really post that much. Like I just posted whenever I had like a video idea, then that's when I would post it and things. So yeah, now it's like, you know, I post daily and frequently and all that stuff and a lot of content. But yeah, at one point in time, I'm like, bro, I'm like, whenever I got a video, that's when I'll post and things, you know. But yeah, I was never a schedule, you know, person and things. I was like, no, it's not my thing.
Several of them stack up in the millions or tens of millions, with one small MLP animation standing at over 20 million views.
That's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reveal that I have for you.
Yeah, face reveals, they go a long way.
Witness my face. You happy? Oh my god, it is so hot in this mask. Get out of here. Whoa, look at me. Look at my beautiful
yeah, that's one thing. That's if there was any video that I could have done, it would definitely be a face reveal. Face reveal videos, like for those that don't know, I've been a content creator for 15 years. So I've seen like all the different types of content go viral. Face reveals is probably like if you like, let's say you create a channel, right? And you like remain anonymous for like probably 1,000 videos, but then yeah, you'll say like if you're growing too, you're all like, oh hey, at 1,000 subscribers or at 10,000, 100,000, whatever and stuff, I'll do a face reveal. People wouldn't even know who you are, but they will get so curious about like, what do you look like what is your face frame, like I need to know and stuff. No, it was funny because it was H2O Delirious, for those that know who he is. Yeah, that we still to this day don't know what that man looked like and stuff. So yeah, I'll never forget. I remember me and my friend, like when we kind of started getting into like that side of YouTube and stuff. I remember I went over to his house, and you would have thought like we were like some like CSI agents trying to find out who like what he H2O Delirious looked like. And then we felt like we was like, nah, we're going too deep into this. Like, nah, let's play like DayZ or Mortal Kombat or something. I'm like, no, we're doing too much. So yeah, man, it's just, you know, face reveals. It's one of those videos where it's like it does good, you know, for somebody that's never revealed who they are. Yeah, it does wonders for your channel. But anyway,
acne covered face that I don't add in my character because that's just stupid. Is this better for you guys? Because I don't think it is. I hope this was at least entertaining, because I do put a lot of effort into making these videos for you guys without having a strict schedule or, yeah.
After a sum of hard work, Synni had accumulated close to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2017. Her newfound success got her in contact with fellow animators such as Sleepykin, Kitty Dog, Pastaru, Sashley, and indeed Birdie, as well as Birdie's at the time close friend and partner known as Heimgut. Synni would also enter an online relationship with another girl, an animator known as Ambrixen. Synni didn't just do animations though. She often drew her fans, made speed paint videos, and would also do unscripted rants venting out her frustrations about a particular subject within the animation meme community. It was rare and very off the cuff, which made her feel more real but also had its consequences. In June of 2017, Synni fired off an angry comment accusing another animator named Kushley of tracing over her artwork. The tracing claims were true, but instructing her fans to go and yell at her was more of an issue. Synni didn't even realize the gravity of her actions until her dad asked about it, by which point the damage had already been done. She would delete her comment and issue an apology, as well as having a private conversation with Kushley. By the way, if that name sounds familiar, it's because Kushley would later rename her channel to Sashley. Throughout 2018, Synni continued to grow at an almost exponential rate, in what was her channel's most successful period. She grew to almost 350,000 subscribers, and plenty of her videos started to really pop off to the point where they are now. As big of a jump as this seems, it is completely accurate to everything that I can see from the archives. Synni almost became the face of the entire—
So wait, she was mad at somebody for tracing over? I guess, I don't know, because with me, it's like I used to do that, like, I guess when I was younger, not like for content and things, but yeah, if I wanted to draw something, I wanted to be accurate, and I was like, yeah, I traced over. I think there was an art class I remember taking in middle school. They had us do some stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it, I guess. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I look at it as like when you're playing a video game on easy. Like, I guess like with me, if I was into art, I wouldn't knock nobody for doing that. There was like, oh, I trace over my art. And it's like, yeah, it's like at times it's like you trying to like be as accurate as you possibly can, and you can't. No, like it's cool. Like I ain't gonna hate on you over that. It's like with me, it takes a lot, you know, I guess, like for me to hate on some stuff like that. It's something where I'm like, it's not worth getting upset over and things. Like, I'm not like my career is in jeopardy because you're tracing over art. If that's what people are interested in, it's like, then that's what people are interested in. But anyway,
animation meme community, and gained a reputation of a golden child, or the so-called first good Sans fangirl, due to her kind nature, her output, and the fact that she would stray away from many of the toxic traits that define these deranged brats. But that status would come under question when Synni would make a short 2-minute video titled Same Face Syndrome Isn't Real. Synni's main idea was exactly that, arguing about same face syndrome, a criticism made towards artists who either consciously or unconsciously use the same features for all their characters, like relying on a specific face mold. The topic had been brought up amidst a sort of online art hysteria, a bunch of videos warning fellow animators and how to avoid this trap in their work. The one who popularized the term, at least in the animation meme community, was Synni's fellow animator, Sleepykin. And seeing people comment on her posts saying that she was drawing under same face syndrome, Synni became annoyed and created this video, in which she makes the argument that it doesn't exist, and was only popularized by Sleepykin.
I don't know, like, I'm trying to think. I feel like Family Guy, like, they, for the most part, I wouldn't say that everybody looks alike, but they kind of, you could tell like that the animator and stuff, like, I don't know who the animator, well, wouldn't it be Seth MacFarlane? Either way, regardless. But no, yeah, it's like, I guess, like, I don't know, like, I don't pay attention to stuff like that, you know, but I mean, I feel like, yeah, Family Guy, I'm trying to think of some other TV shows out there. Yeah, it's like, there's some shows where it's like, they don't make the characters unique, like, let's say like SpongeBob, for an example, you know, where it's like, oh, but even then still, well, no, because Mr. Krabs, I was about to say, like, Patrick, they usually just, yeah, when they're like, if they got like a resting face, I would say that's when they kind of like, everybody like looks similar and things. But I don't know, man. And like, I ain't gonna add too much to because I ain't trying to have it where the art community, they come after me and now they arguing with me about stuff, and I'm like, I ain't even here for that. I'm just here to react to this Synnibear video and call it a day. So
as a way to feed his ego.
Hello, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret right here. Just close in. Same face syndrome doesn't exist. I've been getting on the front page a lot on DeviantArt, so my page has now been opened up to a lot of new people, including very stupid people. And because of that, I get comments like, "Oh, they look too much alike. This is same face syndrome." When it's not. I think a lot of this comes from the friggin' Sleepy King video, where he tells everyone, "Oh yeah, you can copy my style, I don't care." And everyone thinks this is same face syndrome, and I'm gonna show you why this is stupid. Same face syndrome was made up by Sleepy King, so everyone will draw the same way he does. You're getting it confused with people who draw adults, children, and elderly, and maybe even animals with the same facial structure. That I've been trying to work on, but these girls are the same age and same species. They are going to look alike. Don't get me wrong, I understand, in real life, if you put two people next to each other, then they're gonna look different. But, if you haven't noticed, I'm a cartoonist. I don't exactly follow rules like that, and neither do a lot of other people. Neither do companies. This is just a stylistic choice, and a lot of people do it. It's one of the easiest ways to tell one artist from another by looking at their style, which may be how they draw faces. It's in a lot of cartoons. Why is this now becoming an issue? In conclusion, if you think same face syndrome is a problem, I think you're dumb.
Obviously, there are some problems with Synni's arguments. For one, her claims about Sleepykin were entirely baseless. The advice he gave wasn't that people can just copy him, it was using his methods to find inspiration. Obviously, everyone's inspiration differs with their lives, environment, age, gender, etc. Secondly, Synni's idea of what same-face syndrome was seemed entirely inaccurate. Several sources outside of YouTube called it an actual thing years prior. And the problem wasn't with the character's species or age, it was with its features, shapes, and design. Needless to say, Synni's video wasn't good, and she came under fire from numerous other creators who jumped in to debunk
Yeah, it's like to say, I would say that it is real. I just say that it's something that you shouldn't, I guess, feed into too much. Like, I guess if I was an artist and I was noticing that, I guess with me, it's like, I don't know, like, it's just you would have to make the rest of their body different so you'd be able to, like, tell the difference. So, yeah, like, let's say Family Guy, for an example. You could tell the difference between Peter and Cleveland and Joe and Quagmire and Chris. And then, yeah, you know, Chris and Meg and Brian, all that stuff. I'm a Family Guy watcher and stuff. But anyway, so the rest of the other characters and stuff, you know, Lois and freaking greased up deaf guy and things. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I guess, like, with me, if somebody was calling me out on that, it's like, okay, well, like, what am I supposed to, like, if this is what I feel comfortable doing, this is what I'm gonna do. So, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't feed into stuff like that. It's something where I'm like, I guess I'm not gonna be thinking about it as I'm drawing and stuff, you know, so... Anyways, yeah, I guess, like, she should, instead of saying that it wasn't real, it's like, I think a better way for her to respond is just be like, okay, it's like, yeah, it exists, and, like, well, with, like, it's, if you look at a lot, like, I guess, like, yeah, you can say that if you look at a lot of different artists out there, it's like, there's some where it's like, you'll see where it's like the characters be having the same face and things, you know, but, yeah, it's like, it's one of those things, I'm like, I don't know, like, if you expecting, like, some Picasso or, you know, stuff like that I'm like, okay, that's them. I'm like me. I'm a amateur artist, I guess you would say. So it's like, yeah, and you like don't be expecting, like, you know, like all these different. I'm doing the best that I possibly can. I guess, like, that's how I would have responded to it. So, but anyway,
say their piece that same-face syndrome is in fact real. Other people had an issue with Synni lashing out at random DeviantArt commenters, and she would continue to after the video, even taking a shot at Birdie. Eventually, Synni issued a full apology and retraction, but the damage was already done. Though it didn't cause any significant sub-loss, you can see from the social blade that Synni's channel dropped off the high she was riding. She went from gaining around 20 to 30,000 subs every month to just 1/6 of that original growth. Synni herself saw a tank in her productivity, and her uploads became pretty infrequent. Even if the drama lasted a few days, the torrential criticism remained ever present in her consciousness. Later, Synni would try again, uploading a new rant video in February 2019 about another of her animation peers, that being Sashley. Amidst all the drama Sashley was already in at the time, Synni posted a video that criticized her art style and habits. To be fair, it's better than the last one, but the video was still controversial. So much so that Synni's subs gained continued to decrease amidst this sub-war the fanbases had made. Synni's video in general seems to have really nothing to go at Sashley for, instead resorting to talking about certain features that she stole that seem like very obvious and popular ideas for anyone. One of Synni's points was about Sashley copying the trends of others, which would hold firm if the community they were in wasn't wholly based on taking animation trends and memes from other people. There's a whole part where Synni criticizes Sashley for not giving background to her characters, despite Synni not doing the same. Interestingly, Synni also talks about comments that people left calling her a Sashley clone, despite her video being made 2 months in advance.
You know what really boils my piss? I made the Transitor meme, like, a year ago, and both Sashley and Casual Susan both heavily referenced it.
Boy, it
But
was
you know,
odd.
I didn't have
I
a
ain't never
problem
heard
with
of
it.
that one
They
before.
both gave credit in the description. But recently on my video, I got a lot of Sashley fans mad at me because I copied her when my video came out 2 months before hers did. What? There was even someone who went on Sleepy King's Don't Talk meme and said,
This kinda looks like Sashley's video.
this isn't Sashley's fault, of course, because she left credit. It's just that no one looks for the credits in the description. Also this person.
Someone copied you, but I like the person who copied you better.
Wow. Rude.
Along with the comments on the DeviantArt that sparked the Same Face Syndrome video, we're starting to paint a picture of Synni being pretty sensitive and reacting impulsively. Obviously, these people are wrong, but it's like she made the
That's
whole
one thing. Can't do that. Can't be sensitive on the internet. You know, because the thing is this, people will take a hold of that and then be using it against you and stuff. So yeah, it's just that's just how the internet is. You know, that's why like when they approach me and they're all like, hey, what advice can you give me about like being a content creator or getting into social media? I'm like, show no emotions. I'm like, somebody says something or do something, I'm like, fam, I didn't have it where people done said worse and then did worse to me on the internet and things. And yeah, it's like you can't show no emotions. It's just you gotta, I guess, like either laugh about it or just be like, all right, I guess, you know, anyways, going on with the regular schedule of things. Yeah, you gotta let stuff go. But yeah, it's like you got at times where people, they allow something to get to their head so much to where it's like they gotta show emotions, and it's like, fam, like that's why you're in the situation that you're in, because people realize that you're an easy target. So anyways,
video because of them. It's worth keeping in mind she was still pretty young around this time, around 14 to 15 years old, but there's still something up about this, the scale of it and making the video. To me, I feel as if Synni saw that Sashley was under fire with serious claims, and saw this as an opportunity to bring up her personal grudges. These two drama situations showed that Synni was not exactly cut out for commentary. In her video, she really seemed to be grasping at straws and making points that were entirely useless. Her motivations seemed petty or just reactive, sparked by mean comments from random members of Sashley or Sleepykin's audience. Despite the vehement support she would get from her fans in both dramas, it was evident that all she had to do was put the animations in the bag. Eventually, Synni began to realize this, and after going back to posting speed paints and animations, as well as starting her own DeviantArt webcomic, she began to drift away from the ScootalooLovesSans name. She had gotten so much fame under it, but in the process had tied it to controversy that kept affecting her reputation. So, in 2020, she took the bold decision to change her name from ScootalooLovesSans to Synnibear03. After feeling like the Scootaloo name gave her no respect and just confined her to the idea of a Sans fangirl, Synni wanted to break free from it all. She would also start to disavow some of her previous drama videos. But if her intention was to cut the drama from her name, that idea would soon become null and void.
it's like now it's gonna get
If
to the
Synni's
point
drama was
where
hot-
it's just, you know, it seems like this is where her career just started spiraling down.
Hitting, Birdie's was like being run over by a Mack truck. By 2020, Birdie was now known across the animation meme community as this obsessive psychosexual stalker, perennial doxer and harasser, false accusations made against ex-partners, petty grudges, weird relationships, everything, all at the age of just 15. The point is, associating with Birdie now was a lot more controversial than it was back in 2017. He had gained a number of detractors. Most importantly for the time, Evidence Founder 1, a collective of grown-ass adults, and apparently some weird freaks, A-logging all of Birdie's moves. So why do we mention this channel? Well, in June 2020, they posted a video revealing that Synni had been trying to get into contact with Birdie over the years. You'd think after surpassing him in sub count, she'd leave her unfulfilled community wishes behind, as in the grander scheme of things, it would only bring her down further. Plus, as we mentioned before, Birdie was now way more unhinged. Yet, Synni still desperately wanted to become friends with Birdie and developed an obsession of sorts with him. There were tons of fan art, Discord messages longing for contact, and animations showing Birdie in a positive light. All whilst he was on a vicious doxing and harassment campaign against his ex-partner Heimguts. In some ways, people believe that Synni's drawings of him were meant to glorify or support his actions. Speaking of partners, if you've got a good memory, you'll know that Synni's partner at the time was called Ambrixon, and they'd started dating back in 2017. The two had been together for a few years, and would publicly show their affinity to one another through drawings and speed paints of each other's characters, as well as them together. Yet this relationship was not smooth sailing, shockingly, and they were now no longer together. Synni kept the details of this fairly closed off, but Ambrixon didn't intend to do the same, and in a number of Discord messages, she began to speak of their relationship not being as good as people thought. She stated that Synni and her had a pretty toxic relationship, where she would often get the blame for a lot of Synni's self-inflicted drama, despite her telling Synni the right moves when she first brought it up. Ambrixon also revealed that Synni had come out as straight in the dwindling months of their relationship, leading to further toxicity between the two. It's worth noting that Synni's conservative household vocally opposed their relationship, with her dad in particular voicing his disapproval. It's evident that they had a hand in this decision. But was it the only hand? Could Synni's obsession with Birdie and her deteriorating online relationship have some sort of correlation? The answer is yes. As it turns out, Synni was far more obsessed with Birdie than she let on. Her public actions were just a small glimpse into her thoughts. Synni would begin to draw herself and Birdie's character in several romantic and sexual ways, buddying up to Birdie's at the time partners to get closer to him, despite still being in a relationship with Ambrixon. There were several fantasies about a dream relationship with Birdie, and later on a full-on hand-drawn comic of Synni being essayed by Birdie. Yes, your ears do not deceive you. Synni's obsession with Birdie would also extend to an obsessive hatred of Birdie's.
Man, the thing is this. That's weird, bro. Like that's, I try to like, and not even so much as like try to like put myself in that person's like mindset, but it's like I try to think like what led to that, like what was the thought process of like, oh, let me draw this comic of me being essayed by another person, like that's just weird. And it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, like I said earlier, if you have the right people in your, and that's the crazy thing about it. It's like with me, I didn't really have nobody in my ear telling me, but I just think because I think like with me, it's that after, the situation where I was like, because, I remember when I was hating on Ray William Johnson, there was some of his fans that was coming after me. And so it was a humbling situation where I'm like, I don't want to get caught up in no drama. But then just even me, IRL, like outside of content creating, like I don't like arguing with people. I don't like getting into it. So I'm like, whoever I am, because I think a lot of times like people, they go onto the internet and they want to be somebody different versus who they are IRL, because whoever there is like that's like, outside the internet, like I guess like for an example, using myself, you'll see it where it's like I'm, TMossBoss, this charismatic, energetic person where it's like I'm leaving people entertained. But then outside the internet, it's like I'm Tyler, it's like I'm boring, quiet, don't want to do nothing and things. Tyler and TMossBoss, it ain't no difference. That's what I'm like the point that I'm trying to make is that, it's like this person that you see in videos is going to be the same person that you'll see IRL and stuff. So I'm like, it's one of those things where I just think that that's how a lot of people need to go about. Like, you wouldn't say or do any of this stuff, I guess, like with people that you would be afraid of like judging you or something. So it's like with me, it's like whatever conversation that I have online is a conversation that I'll have outside of the internet and stuff. So you just got some people where it's like they don't think. I'm telling you, man, one of these days I'm like, I should write a book about content creation, because I'm like, just I guess like for somebody, or at least do like a series of videos where it's like I like kind of guide people, because I feel like that there's just way too many people that'll get on here thinking they could do one thing, and then it's like they messed up their whole career and stuff. So anyways,
time goods, to the point that she would make vents about them and go on to stalk them. Synni's former friends would leak this and a bunch more information to the Evidence Found 01 group. Soon a video was out and the audience was angry, and people began to pick out more problems with Synni from her public content. Synni would make an initial response in January 2021, in which she asked people for their criticisms of her so that she could make a full response addressing everything. Keep in mind, this wasn't any Google document, this was an array of rant videos with different things to say. Chief among these concerns was Synni's obsession and glorification or whitewashing of Birdie and his actions, as well as her participation in the stalking of Heimguts, as well as concerns over her animations and art in general, claims that some of her work romanticized serious abuse. Members of the audience would also try to reach into Synni's life, making conclusions that she suffers from maladaptive daydreaming and telling her to stop this mental disorder. Others claimed that her saying she was straight showed that she was a straight woman preying on LGBTQ people. Months would go by with Synni working on a response, but still getting continuous backlash every day that she was publicly silent. There's even an unlisted video on her channel where she can be heard crying whilst in Birdie's server because her friends were distancing themselves from her. In April, a small creator by the name of Gator Creation would make a video clarifying some of the most misunderstood claims made by the audience, an emphasis on how all these personal details were leaked. Gator Creation's video seems to show how now it was the audience who were grasping for straws, and taking Synni's portrayal of abuse to mean she was supporting it. This video made a big impact in the public eye, and gave Synni some breathing room for her to release a response, which she did in May 2021. In her videos, she's a lot more passive, and generally apologizes for her behavior and actions. She also claimed that she did not support Birdie's worst actions, just that she took a general stance on hoping he would eventually get better. She would also show proof that she was entirely against things like Heimguts' doxing. As for her supposed romanticization of SA, Synni discussed how she'd confused abuse with angst and apologized. In general, Synni's response was received pretty well by the public. Even after this video, she would cut ties with Birdie, but the effects of what had happened were visible. Synni's viewership had greatly decreased from what it used to be. Her sub count basically plateaued at around 500,000 subscribers. The 2021 drama wasn't the only reason though, as stopping the MLP and Undertale animations was also a big reason. When she cancelled stuff like her DeviantArt webcomic and MLP and Undertale alternate universe fanfiction, people saw that as a sign that she was moving on, and they lost interest in her work. What didn't help either was that Synni was constantly taking long breaks, mostly due to her parents grounding her for getting bad grades. Thankfully, she was now apparently seeking therapy for her mental health and keeping herself in check, and as bad as it had been the last couple of years, she still held a pretty consistent and loyal viewer base, even regularly streaming and getting good numbers every stream. But where would she go now? Well, her interest was now in a new indie game named Friday Night Funkin'. For some reason, it's always f***ing Friday Night Funkin'. Synni would start to focus her channel almost entirely on FNF, making animations about it, streaming the game, and even making her own character stills. Some of these animations, again, did pretty well, but the reason we're here isn't to marvel at her FNF skills. Seemingly, as always with this damn game, there was some degeneracy involved. During 2022, Synni would become interested in one FNF mod in particular, that being the Witty mod, and the self-titled character featured in it, made by the creator Sock.Clip. Synni would start to vocally express on a Discord server about how much she loved this character, and eventually it would turn into a complete infatuation, fantasizing and drawing her with him in romantic situations, and she would start to include some of Sock's other characters in her drawings, such as one of them named Boy. So what's the problem here? Well, Sock, the creator of Witty, was around 15 at the time, and was also very vocal about not having a character sexualized at all. Obviously, probably not a good look to sexualize a character that a 15-year-old had made. Sock was seeing some of these drawings, and her discomfort became so much that she would even block Synni on Twitter. It took until one particularly suggestive piece she posted that Synni would face significant backlash from Sock's fanbase. In her apology, posted to Twitter in October 2022, she said, I
don't know what's up with people when they do stuff like that, man. It's just weird. I wasn't going to mention this because this is a video strictly about Synnibear and stuff, but no, with the last video that Just a Robot did on me, he had it where we were it looked like we was about to kiss and stuff, and I'm like, fam, out of all the different thumbnails that you could have created, it's just, to me, it's I find stuff like that weird. I guess I don't know, I might be a young person, but I feel like I have a old-fashioned mindset to where, yeah, stuff like that. I mean, if both of the people, I guess, consent to that, then it's all right, it's whatever. You guys do what you want to do and things. But, if you just go out of your way and do some stuff like that and then even ask. But, yeah, I imagine somebody like him, he ain't gonna ask no permission for no crap like that. So, yeah, that's why it's just, it's just weird to me, you know, when I see stuff like that. It's like, man, just out of all the different things that you could be doing, because I guess like with me, so not to like really try to promote or doing things, but I write stories, and I ain't gonna like, you know, say platform all that stuff. But anyways, but no, it's like I write stories, and that's one thing about it is that I have my friends involved in these stories. I don't write nothing crazy. I don't write anything like it's because I think the one where it was like heavily involved, one of my friends, it was a story that I finished, but it was like a fan made story of the video game, The Division, Tom Clancy's The Division. I kind of had it where it was like a prequel where it was mainly about like, you know, me and my friend, where she's the reason of like rogue agents, like she's the start of all of that stuff. And then like I'm a just a regular division agent. But yeah, we have it where we have like some battles, we get into some fights, we almost kill each other and stuff. But it's something where it's like I think if even if my friend would have reached out and just been like, hey, I don't want that down, I'm like, okay, rewrite the whole story. I guess like with me, it's like I definitely would have it where it's like, you know, if it was that much of a problem, I'm like, okay, do you want the roles to be reversed, or do you want to be a good person, or do you want both of us to be a bad person? Whatever the case is, let me know. I'll get to work, you know. But yeah, it was like I didn't write nothing, I guess, like too crazy. It's like, you know, I kind of kept it where it was like I'm imagining like, okay, if this is a movie, it's like this is something where it's like me and my friend, we could be proud of it and stuff, you know. But yeah, it's like I'm not like, oh yeah, they were doing this or they were doing that, and it's like inappropriate stuff. And I'm like, fam, like, do you not like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you should know if like not even if like you should just overall know that stuff like that is not normal. So yeah, it's weird, man. You got some people out there where it's like, yeah, they do them fan mades or whatever and stuff. It's like they writing stories or making art, and it's like they just take things to a whole new level where it's like, fam, you have to understand. Like, I guess like if you're in their shoes and there's somebody out there that you don't want doing that like stuff about you, like drawing inappropriate art or whatever, you gonna feel a certain way about that. You gonna get on them about that and things. So
Realized Sock.Clip was that uncomfortable with having their character shipped, and if I had known, I would have stopped sooner. I did not intentionally mean to break anyone's boundaries. I'm just someone who enjoys self-shipping with characters I adore, and I really love Sock's characters. Now that I know you dislike it, I will stop. I hope you can forgive me. I admire your art a lot, and you are a huge inspiration. I'll stick to drawing my own characters now, and I'm sorry that I made you uncomfortable. That was never my intention. Whilst this apology is so-and-so, it's entirely built on a lie. Synni frames this as a mishap, and that she never knew Sock was uncomfortable at all. This was just not true, evident from her messages on a Discord server where she knew of Sock's discomfort and complained about it. Yet the public, not knowing of this, quickly forgave Synni and moved on. What they didn't know is that Synni's obsession and actions went far beyond what she let on. During 2021, she had made a Discord group chat named Sock Gang, consisting of a few friends whom she indulged her obsession with. She would complain about Sock's discomfort in some messages, and even sent an early draft of her apology where she's more angry. But that wasn't her worst act. In this group, she would send suggestive and explicit art. The group chat members contained several minors, the oldest being 16 and youngest being 14. For context, Synni was 18 when this group started and would turn 19.
This is where I guess like this is the part of this Synnibear, you know, drama where I came in, because I didn't hear about any of this stuff when it was like happening live and things. I didn't hear about all of this till like last year. So yeah, it's like all that information. I'm like trying to take in my own personal drama information, and I'm trying to take in her information, and I'm like, bro, it's just it's so much. I'm like, this is too much to like, you know, try to remember and but yeah, I was like, fam, like hearing what she was doing, I'm like, you have to understand that that's weird, bro. Like and that's the thing, like I guess like with me, that I've been a content, but it's like they show in the analytics page where it's like the different age ranges and stuff. And yeah, that's why I'm like, with me, like I don't say nothing inappropriate. I don't do anything inappropriate. I don't react to content that's inappropriate. I guess like if it's storytelling stuff like that, like in a sense of this, then yeah, you know, but it's like in a sense where it's like we're talking against it and not supporting it and stuff. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's people out there, they don't be thinking of stuff like that. They don't think about it until it's too late. And it's like, fam, this should have been your thought process a long time ago, that the route that you're heading down, not the right route. You know, make a U-turn, go back, find a route that's going to benefit you and your fans. But anyways.
during its activity. Not only this, but Synni would also make sexual jokes and comments towards these minors. Whilst this was never made public until later, it shows a snippet of the sexual nature that Synni indulged in. More concerning was the fact that minors were involved and she seemingly didn't care, not about their age or Sock's concern. The apologetic nature she put up publicly, the golden child view, seemed to be used as more of a screen for her. Though Sock Gang would never be exposed to the public until much later, there were some breadcrumbs that look worse in hindsight. For example, Synni would announce to her Discord server saying she was fine with NSFW of her character. The post itself had NSFW art, which in itself was a contradiction of her own rules, which literally stated that NSFW was not allowed on the server because it could harm minors. This was only one of several other incidents, in which she would openly discuss something sexual with her clearly young fanbase on her public Discord. Not many people knew it at the time, but a pattern was emerging.
Yeah, I think of times where people, cause it was, talking on my own drama and stuff. I just remember it was somebody that was threatening. Well, no, yeah, it was the one guy that I mentioned earlier, Glenn Gregan, cause I remember he kept threatening me online, saying he was gonna like track me down, find me, set me on fire, starve me to death, kill me, and all this other stuff. And I'd said that, and that's something that I still stand by till this day. I'm like, if I see you in person, he's old enough now, he's an adult now, but I was like, if I see you in person, I'm kicking you in the throat. I'm like, but the thing is, what's funny is that I just remember like people were trying to use that against me, and it's like, did y'all not hear that this guy is like, he wants me to no longer be alive? Like, I just want to, I guess, get him to back off. Like, at least he'll still be alive after my actions. Like, this person does not want my existence here no more. So it was weird, man. But yeah, it's like, I see stuff like this, and then I think of the stuff that I done said. I'm all like, yeah, I'll kick you in the throat and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, it's just with me, it's like, I think I'm like, dang, like I hear this, I'm like, what I said, it was worse than this. Like, yeah, man, it's insane, it really is. Cause I'm like, I don't understand what her situation, where it's like, that there are kids like looking at your content, but it's just, I don't think she probably knew at the time, like she would be dealing with the crap that she's dealing with now. But I'm pretty sure if like, my thing is this, if you had a chance, I guess, to take all this stuff back and start fresh all over again, but go down a more positive route and things. But if you still go down this route, then yeah, fam, you don't need to be a content creator. Cause I don't get it, where it's like, there would be, like, and I've dealt with, kids that are a fan of me and stuff. And I have to say, the one time I could think of an interaction that I had with kids when it came to like being a fan of me is when helping out one talk to his crush. Like, he didn't have that confidence to talk to her and things. And so, yeah, I was all like, bro, I was in the middle of a stream and I was all like, nah, bro, but that's something where I'm like, I didn't say nothing crazy. I didn't do anything crazy. I was just all like, hey, like, yeah, go talk to her, get all that stuff out your system. It's better to talk to her rather than like you thinking like, dang, what if I, would have talked to her? It's like, nah, bro, just go through with it. I think he did, but I don't think he said it worked out and things. I think he was like, it was some other crap that had went down and stuff. I'm like, that's up for him to talk about. But yeah, I'm like, that's as far as it. My thing is this, that's something that I've always stood by, is that if I overall have a conversation with a kid on the internet, I have a conversation with them that I know I can have in front of their parent. So that's why I'm like, yeah, you won't catch me having no inappropriate conversations or, doing anything inappropriately with no minor and stuff. I'm like, nah, it's like whatever the conversation is going to be, it's a conversation that I can have in front of their parent. So if we talking about video games, music, movies, stuff like that, conversation, it's like, yeah, even if it's like, if we're talking on a like rated R, like a zombie movie or something, what's that new zombie movie that's coming out? But it's like, yeah, it's all like, oh yeah, movie looks crazy and things, but and I guess like if their parents are like, hey, I don't want my kid watching rated R movies and stuff, I'm like, oh well, then yeah, that's up between you and them. I ain't gonna, I guess like I can't tell them not to, because I'm like, I'm not their parent or guardian and stuff. But yeah, overall though, it's like, the point that I'm trying to make is that, you got to have a conversation with them that it's like, that you would have in front of their parent. I guarantee and I promise you, she wouldn't be having the same conversation if she knew that the parents was watching.
By the time this goes up, it will no longer be my birthday. So, Всем привет, меня зовут Synnibear03. I am now 19 years old.
Through 2022 and early 2023, Synni's online uploads would begin to dwindle. Any videos she did post were either streams or a brief return to her old animations. This mostly seems to be due to personal issues she was having with her family, as well as a focus on her real life. For example, she was now in a new relationship with Too Mad?
Long time no see.
Just kidding, it's a guy who she reconnected with after last seeing him in middle school. Synni would go on stream and play games with her new boyfriend for a few months. But returning to the point, Synni was dealing with real life, she had a high school diploma by now, and was starting to work. It was actually during this time that she began to return to the rant format she had abandoned so long ago, making essentially commentary videos. These would do decently, perhaps the highlight of them being her coverage on Spocktatech, a once big art commentary channel who had been one of Synni's most vocal critics during her early controversies. Spockta had essentially run off after a call was leaked of him admitting to having sexual interactions with a minor. But what was to be done with Synni's interactions? We ended off the last segment discussing how Synni was interacting in a Discord server and paying more attention to it, and what came of that is worth more than just a mere mention. During late July of 2023, Synni had met a fan of hers known as Peewee or Bugspray, who had posted some pretty good fan art. Synni would compliment her work publicly and quickly sent her a friend request, but this wasn't to discuss commissions, it was to befriend Bugspray. Within a week, they were discussing sexual topics and fantasies, with Synni sending entire fanfictions about herself and Sock's multiple OCs. Synni and Bugspray would enter a sort of relationship. It's never stated outright by either party, but come on. When you're drawing and sending NSFW artwork of... let me check my notes here. Ah yes, farting on each other and planning to move in together, it's kind of obvious.
That's what I like, bro. There be some people in this world that you wonder about where it's like, fam, it's you can't even blame your upbringing or none of that. Like, it's one of those things where it's just, what do you got going on? Like, that's the question that I would have for her. It's like all the things that you guys could be talking about, but that's it. That's the conversation. That's the final summary of your guys' conversation. It's weird, you know, like maybe it's just because we came from two different parts of the world, but I feel like any part of the world, yeah, you'll probably have some other weird people that's into stuff like that. But I'm like, fam, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you guys sit down and think about it. It's like, this is the conversation that you're having right now with somebody. And then that same somebody is a minor. Yeah, you gotta really sit down and reevaluate your life and be like, I'm not right. Like, I need some serious help.
19, planning to move in with a 17-year-old who she had allegedly solicited sexual pictures from. Bugspray would come out and post DMs in November 2023, exposing Synni for being problematic and showing more of her personal details. This included non-consensually publishing these private drawings and their sexual interactions. However, although there were some small rumblings, people didn't really take this seriously. For one, Bugspray's video was flagged down only mere hours after it was up, because she was just straight up showing the artwork uncensored. Bugspray was also criticised for the act of leaking private information and her tone while showing these cropped DMs. The fact that she said she was uncomfortable only after making the video, whilst in the DMs there's no questioning at all, didn't help. Synni would put out a generic statement in response, saying she was aware she was in the wrong and that she wouldn't befriend any minors again. Synni clearly had some really weird lines around people when it came to discussing NSFW topics, and seems to have just plucked a fan out of a server to start dating and showing all this weird stuff. Even well into 2024, Synni would continue to sexually obsess over Sock's characters, and even asked her server, one that had minors in it, for their best NSFW chatbots. Synni's discussion of moving out with Bugspray wasn't entirely out of left field, as it was during this time that her fight with her parents reached its utter apex. In a video in late November 2023, Synni explained that she had moved out after her parents had apparently stolen $11,000 from her. Synni's issues with her parents came because she'd wanted to move out for months, and her parents felt that she was just running away from her problems and wasn't ready to move out. The three had a long dispute over the car that Synni owned, and when she went out of state to pick up a friend and roommate, Synni's parents pulled out $11,000 from her account and paid off the car. To emphasize, this is while she's driving a trip that would take around 3 to 4 days to complete, on an old car they had. Synni was now pretty much all alone and had to make it through life on her own way. But what had she sacrificed it for? Who was this mystery roommate she had driven so far for, who her parents said disgusting and nasty stuff about, who they described as a violent person? Well, his name was Birdie. Yes, after so long, and an entire controversy about Synni supporting Birdie, the two had moved in together in the same apartment. This had already been leaked prior by Bookspray, showing that they were both...
It's like watching this video. It's kind of like you watch like a TV show, but you already know what's going to happen and stuff. It's like based on a true story, but you already kind of knew the story beforehand. So it's like they'll like tease it all, like, you know, just the whole like season and stuff. Like, oh dang, I wonder who's going to be their roommate and stuff. Like, those are for the people that don't know. I'm just sitting there watching on like, y'all, you guys, y'all are going to be in for a surprise. I'm like, if I was watching this video with somebody that was unaware of this whole situation, I'm like, oh yeah, all right. I was like, spoiler alert. I'm like, yeah, it's the Birdie character and stuff.
In contact with each other, and Synni was driving to pick him up. After months of being cut off and nearly an entire year of inactivity from Birdie, the two were now roommates, running away from their families. With her life settling down after the chaos she had been through, Synni began regularly streaming again, with Birdie making appearances in the background under the pseudonym of Jimmy. Eventually, Birdie would make his grand return in mid-2024, with a video made to explain all of his history that just kind of obscures a lot of it. But Synni was there playing cheerleader along the way, and even went out of her way to defend Birdie. A fairly large YouTuber and streamer, Deadwing Dork, reacted to Birdie's video and basically made fun of it for a few hours. Birdie and Synni's fanbases would hunt for Deadwing's head, and Synni would make a 3-hour video on Deadwing's whole stream. This is part 1, by the way. Now you can watch this for research. I'm not going to.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
You could not pay me any amount of money to watch a 3-hour video from Synnibear. However, from what I can deduce, Synni's whole defense for this video is either to deflect to Birdie's mental health or to accuse Deadwing of victim blaming. Both points have issues. Mental illness is often not a cop-out for everything, especially Birdie's actions, and that Birdie warps a lot of these situations in its response. What's annoying is people watched Birdie's video, and most of them didn't know the context for any of these stories, so they only had Birdie's word to go off of. But Synni did know the context. She was there for most of it, and directly participated in it. So I only see this video as just willful ignorance. What happened to disassociating from Birdie due to his actions? Well, it's worth noting that Bookspray claimed Synni would outright compare her to Birdie, and use her as a sort of substitute for her obsession with him. Now, there is no proof of this, but what we do have is Synni sending over her hand-drawn comics about Birdie, which adds some credence to Bookspray story. Furthermore, the aspects of Birdie and Synni's home life were very one-sided. Apparently Synni worked 2 jobs, paid the full rent, bought Birdie a computer, and was also Birdie's carer for his health issues, whilst Birdie was just a bed blob, either drawing or sleeping. There are very few people who would drive days on end for a quote-unquote friend, especially one who they only started talking to recently. Users noted that Synni seemed relatively stressed from how she acted on streams or how she talked in a Discord. Maybe it was her drama with Deadwing or just the stress of holding up a household. Nobody saw it coming, but Synni's life was nearing a knife's edge, and the world would soon collapse in on her.
Like, is this like the stuff that was like that
in September 2024?
At least like where it was just, you know, it led to the, you know, the defense video and stuff. I'm like, yeah, because I was like, I knew nothing of Synnibear because like, yeah, throughout 2024, I'm doing my own stuff. So yeah, it was like, I wasn't even focused on that side of the internet, but yeah, I remember when it got brought to my attention, I'm like, dang, man, this is crazy. It's like, yeah, it's like, you know, referencing TV shows and stuff. This is like catching the TV show at like season 5. And then, yeah, it's just like me. I was like binge watching a bunch of different videos, trying to gather up as much info as I possibly could. But anyway,
2 Google documents were dropped on Synnibear. One of them exposed Synni for stuff we've discussed already, that being the Sock Gang group chat and Synni's relationship with Bugspray. The other one is an entirely new claim surrounding an individual named Enno. Enno was 14, Synni was 20. At around 188 pages, the document is a timeline of Synni and Enno's conversations, beginning in November 2023. Enno was a friend of another YouTuber named Soph the Neko, who had made the main video on the Bugspray situation. Enno had reached out as a fan, and the conversation wasn't that lively when they first came into contact. But there were key establishments, such as Enno saying she was 14, while Synni laments over how all the funny people out there are just children. Over the next few months, Enno and Synni would sporadically talk with each other, with long calls and DMs where Synni and Enno began talking about sexual topics. This went from discussion to fantasies, to eventually showing Enno explicit artwork of several sexual situations involving Synni's character, as well as continuing to draw NSFW art around Sock's characters. In particular, she shows an entire comic to Eno about Sock's OC boy, which involved SA. I think it has to be emphasized how much of a flashbang this entire conversation was because it exposed so much, as well as the fact that this was all being talked about to a 14-year-old, while Synni acknowledged that she was a minor. Synni constantly talked about her dreams and fantasies all to this person, even using NSFW chatbots in their DMs. Arguably the most harrowing part of this wasn't revealed until much later, when Synni confessed that not only was she sending these images to Eno and playing out fantasies, in their calls, she was getting Eno to read out her explicit comics.
You had Eno read out the comic in VC?
It's like, you gonna say something? It's like, we're live.
Like the dialogue.
On the air. It's like, say what you guys say.
I didn't, I didn't think to mention it. It just didn't seem like a...
All the questions we were asking you about you needing to be 100% honest about what was, damning and...
I mean, I didn't even think about it. It didn't even come across my mind. I don't know, it's just like a...
Hey, Kumo, does knowing that fact change anything for you?
Hold on for 1 second, guys. Give me a moment. All right, I'm back. Anyways.
Yeah, quite a bit. Because that's, literally asking her to engage in your...
It was mostly just, being able to, hear what her reaction was.
Oh,
the time.
Okay. No, we're done. We're done. You asked her to read it, and you wanted her reaction. You know what that means?
I wanted to see if she liked it or not.
Oh my god!
It's a minor,
do you
not...
getting feedback. I didn't think...
I'm things that you if it's, okay, music, I guess, if you're coming up with a video game idea or something, I'm trying to think of some other things out there, something I guess, technology or sneakers. That's the type of stuff where it's okay, you have a kid can listen to it or test it out, whatever the case may be, and stuff where you could get feedback from it. Art where there's explicit stuff being shown, you have to, I guess, my thing is this, and I don't know, maybe she's somebody that don't want kids, but it's you guys sit down and think about it. What if this was your kid? It's one of those things you gotta oh, okay, now I understand. Yeah, fam, there ain't no explaining this.
I didn't think... No.
Well, you wanted feedback, and effectively, what is attacked?
I didn't think it was like that.
Synni and Eno's conversations continued until September, stopped by the release of this document. Now, one of the main defenses that people put out for Synni in response to this document, maybe the main one, is that she was straight. Therefore, she had no interest in Eno as a partner, therefore it's not grooming. Obviously, if you've paid attention to the video, you realize how dumb that is.
Yeah,
even if Synni was straight as far as we know, she had a history of dating women, which were some of her longest relationships. The reason her first relationship ended was because she changed her sexuality, something which was probably influenced by her conservative parents. In fact, with Bugspray in particular, the patterns between her and Eno's cases are almost one-to-one. Synni plucking out a random fan, befriending them quickly, and then using them as an outlet for all their fantasies. And even if the point about her being straight was somehow valid, what difference would it make? Apart from the sudden distinction of labels, it doesn't change much about what Synni did. With grooming, there's even a specific tactic used known as EPI, or Early Introduction, in which minors are exposed to adult content. That tactic can absolutely be applied here. Synni showed Eno NSFW art and comics pertaining to specific in a one-on-one conversation, and entrusted her with these secrets. Not only did she make Eno read
I don't think people understand the effect that can have on a kid. I just remember when I was a kid and it wasn't stuff like that, but I just remember it. I'm fam, I don't know why YouTube, they'll trip so much about, they just recently age restricted a video of me playing Call of Duty, the Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and Power Wash Simulator. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't cuss in that video. It wasn't at least I don't remember Call of Duty Black Ops. They ain't show nothing crazy or anything, but Power Wash Simulator. I'm like, what's in that game that's like 18 plus and stuff. So yeah, man, I don't know. I was like, I was tripping off of that, but it's crazy. They'll age restrict videos like that, but then they won't age restrict videos of like John F. Kennedy getting assassinated, or like I think I even remember it was a body cam video and they showed the rap or the musician XXXTentacion, where you can visibly see him where he passed away in his car and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, that content is allowed. This type of content is allowed. But then there's content that gets taken down where it's like, or age restricted. And it's like, fam, what was wrong with that? So yeah, to me, it's weird how that stuff works out. But anyway,
comics on call, but she also encouraged her to draw her own comics. Anyone with a working brain knows that what Sunny has done here is extremely wrong and unforgivable. At the time of the Eno document, Birdie and Sunny were both on holiday, just about to return. Birdie would confront Sunny on what she had done, and then move to make a video about her that would blow this whole situation up, titled, "My Roommate Groomed a 14-year-old. I Need Help." This whole video ruining Sunny's career seems to be quietly recorded in the room next to her. In addition to promoting the documents against Sunny, Birdie would also allege that Sunny had been inappropriate with him multiple times during his stay with her, something she vehemently denied. The video ends off with Birdie showing a half-completed sexualized animation of him and Synnibear's characters, for seemingly no reason other than to not let it go to waste. In the coming days, Birdie's GoFundMe, set up to escape Sunny, would surpass its goal of $10,000, while Sunny's whole career was in freefall. She began tanking subscribers, and all she could do is purge some of her videos and publish a short apology, admitting to everything.
I was going to make a video talking about a recent document that was released about me, but the situation has gotten much more serious as I realize the damage that I've caused. I have been an irresponsible content creator, and I've been acting inappropriately towards my fans. This alone is enough for me to realize I need to make sweeping changes to how I conduct myself and how I interact with my fans. But the most serious thing I've done is I've groomed a minor. I became friends with a 14-year-old after I made a mental note to myself.
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, there's no way possible for her to come back after some stuff like that, because I'm trying to think, like, you can rebrand your content, you can rebrand who you are, all that stuff, just go through a whole, like, 360 rebranding, and it still won't mean nothing, you know. Like, it's one of those things where I guess, like, maybe donating to charities, what else, you know, like I guess, like I don't know, like getting, because there's some people out there, they ain't really all that religious and things, so that's why I'm like, I was gonna say, like, you know, get into religion, but I'm like, she might not even be a religious individual, so I'm like, I get, if she wants to, I'm like, the opportunity is there and stuff. But even then, still, it's like, you know, there are going to be people on the internet that don't like you for what you did and stuff. So, yeah, I'm like, there ain't no defense for her. It's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, you just going to have to hope that, I guess, like, at some point in time, people forgive you. But at the same time, it's like, that's really left up to those individuals and stuff. So, yeah, I think that how she should have went about this is properly apologize to all, like, victims, everybody involved. Like, I mean, like a whole, like, apology from, like, the very first person that you ever got into it with all the way up to the last and stuff, you know, whether it was some beefing or some inappropriate stuff, you need to apologize for that. So it maybe, just maybe, people might be like, hey, we see that you're trying to change, like, you know, we forgive you. But it ain't just like one person saying that. That's like the internet saying that and stuff. So yeah, it's like it's one of those things where I'm like, and that's the thing, still, it's gonna follow you. Like, that's the thing, you can rebrand, the internet can forgive you. There's always gonna be that one person, they can be like, I ain't never forgot what you did, and then it's gonna get brought up all over again. So yeah, it's like the best thing that you could just do from this point forward is be like working towards being a better person and stuff. But still, though, it's like, it's one of those things. But it's like, yeah, some stuff like that, that's, you know, it's just, I've learned to see throughout the years of like internet stuff, and even outside the internet, is that, yeah, when you do things to a minor, there's no form of forgiveness for that, because yeah, it's just you took things too far. But anyways,
to not become friends with minors again, and I overshared with them. I shared graphic, explicit materials with them when I shouldn't have. I groomed this child, and I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I betrayed everyone who looked up to me.
I betrayed my friends. I've done the worst possible thing I could have done, and I'm suffering for my choices. I'm sorry to everyone I've ever made uncomfortable with my sexual content. I'm sorry to the victim I groomed. I don't want to say their name, I want to protect their identity. I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm ashamed of myself for doing this and hurting everyone. I'll be closing my Discord server. I'm shutting down my Patreon. I won't be posting my art.
In the following days, Birdie would move out while Synni was close to ending it all. The police were called, but just for a wellness check, and Birdie would later return just to break in and take one of Synni's cats, as well as leaving a hat on Synni's bed that said groom. This action made some people believe that Birdie was making the situation about himself, rather than the 14-year-old that had just been groomed. Privately, Synni was far from apologetic. Her main emotion was anger towards Birdie and Laurel, one of her closest online friends over the years who had also publicly distanced herself. In leaked diaries and drawings, she can be seen fantasizing about murdering them both. In the wake of her cancellation, Synni was reportedly doxxed, and several people called up her employers telling them what happened. They let Synni know and she was spooked, instantly buying stuff like pepper spray, knives, and crowbars. Despite everything that happened, Synni was somehow still in contact with Enno, and still venting to them about all the stuff. Thankfully, Enno would then cut her off, and anyone else would be forgiven for thinking that this was the end of everything. But shockingly, Synni was not down and out yet. Despite the insurmountable evidence that had been presented, she still had supporters. The only issue is that they weren't really here for her.
Yeah, it's like the thing is this, it's just she keeping in contact with the person. I'm like, fam, that just don't even make no sense. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend like taking your life over something like this. It's like, that's the thing. People be thinking like it's impossible to come back from something like this. And when you sit down and think about it, it's like, I would have to say like, this is impossible. This is where you're at right now. There's still like it's gonna take a lot of climbing out. It's gonna take a lot of, but like it's possible for you to not so much as like come back, but I guess like work towards getting the forgiveness and things that you need to get from people, because that at the end of the day, that's what matters. Like if you trying to be a content creator, I'm like, then that's what you need to work on doing, is getting the forgiveness from people. So yeah, that's what you gonna have to start, like get rid of all that art crap and start writing down like some stuff where I'm like, okay, what could I possibly do? And you ain't gotta do nothing crazy or out of the ordinary and stuff. It's like, no, it's like you just have to do right by people, and then yeah, it's like you'll look up one day and be like, dang, like I didn't came a long way, like I'm better now. That, and the thing is this, when you think like that, I feel like that's when you're gonna have two paths in front of you. Continue going down the right path, or go down the path that led you into, being canceled in the first place. And if you go down that path, then yeah, it's like at that point, you might as well kiss your content creating career goodbye. Go to an area where it's like, just leave content creation and the internet alone. You are just gonna have to leave that in your, like past life and things. But yeah, but it's like, or continue going down the road where it's all like, people are like, hey, you did all this stuff a long time ago. I forgive you and all this other stuff. And then, yeah, that's what you want to work towards. But anyways.
Pushback to the support of Birdie began with a commentary YouTuber named Kumo, who had a history of being an edgy contrarian of sorts in the art commentary community. Kumo began to stream discussing the Synni situation. His argument/crackpot theory stemmed from the fact that Enno pestered Synni for attention for months, and his theory is that Soph the Neko sent Enno as a ploy to frame Synni. He also infamously dismissed Synni and Enno's descriptive conversations as high school locker room girl talk. Obviously, the flaw in this argument is what a 20-year-old would be doing in a high school locker room.
Exactly.
Kumo's belief
it's like,
was that,
you can't, no, I can't remember, it might be 20. There's like, that's like the oldest age that you could be. But yeah, fam, it's like, you can't be no 20 years old at no high school and stuff. It's one of those things you got to sit down and think about. It's like, dang, what am I doing here? It's like, you ain't even a super senior. You're a senior citizen. It's like, you have to sit down and think about those types of things. But yeah, because I'm trying to think. I remember when I was in high school, like there are some kids where it's like they come back, try to get credits and they GED and all that other stuff. But yeah, other than that, I'm like, I don't think they were in their 20s. If anything's 18, 19 max, but maybe, I don't know. But anyway.
This was all a massive operation to frame Synni, and Birdie was mooching off her as much as he could, even to the extent of the GoFundMe. These streams would eventually get Synni's attention, and the two would get get in contact. Kumo's defense would provide a basis for the setup of an entire group chat made to defend Synni, which has now been given the name Synnibear Defense Force. This group chat included Kumo, who we already know. The other major figure here was someone named Romantic Goblin, an aspiring streamer and archivist who used to be part of the art commentary community. She had changed sides to more of a contrarian stance in recent drama, and allied herself with Kumo in order to further her aspirations. Her presence also drew together other members of the group chat, people from her community who were there to give advice. Most importantly, the group managed to get in Synni herself, and they would give her advice on how to move forward. Now, I can't lie, this group chat has some interesting things. For example, Romantic Goblin tried to buy a gun to arm Synni for self-defense, which is incredibly funny. She also wrote up an entire defense draft for Synni that includes her labeling their own group as the KKK. However, even within this group, there were underlying issues. People like Romantic Goblin and Evan Do Things wanted to keep the conversations to the group chat, whilst Kumo wanted Synni for himself, so that he could control the public flow of information. Throughout their DMs, Kumo can be seen nestling pretty close to Synni, repeatedly addressing her as a sweetheart. On September 30th, Synnibear would private her initial admission and issue a 40-minute response defending herself. Synni states that her previous confession was made under immense pressure and coercion by Birdie. So, what was her grand defense? Well, the first 14 minutes are dedicated to addressing the grooming allegations, with the rest of the video going over Birdie, the claims he made, and his personal and financial issues. Synni's defense against her grooming allegations is going on a sort of grooming checklist on some online website, and arguing how she didn't fall under all these specific terms, despite the website itself saying that grooming may take a number of forms. The best part is when she says that she didn't discuss sexual stuff, just sadistic fantasies, before then backtracking and saying she did discuss sexual stuff. She also argues that Eno started it, which is stupid because adults know better than minors around sexual topics, and it is their responsibility to control the conversation when such topics are brought up. The last point of note is that Synni says she doesn't care about Sock's discomfort with how she was using her characters, saying it doesn't matter if the creator is a minor. The next 26 minutes are Synni discussing her frustrations with Birdie's personal life and actions, before breaking down in tears over her love for Birdie.
The fact that I thought he cared about me, I thought he loved me, and he says this awful shit publicly, victory lapping around me, encouraging people to make hateful art about me, talking about stealing my intellectual properties for himself to use, knowing that I can't say anything about it, because the internet hates me, trying to silence me once he found out that I was making my video. I feel sick because I still care about him. I genuinely hope he is safe. I still love him. Even after seeing all this, I still love him. I don't know why he's acting like this. I know he has borderline personality disorder, so I really hope that this is just...
You sound like she got like one of those things where it's like she got like attachment issues and stuff. Like she goes like grows attached to somebody, and then then it's like she lets like her wild side out, and it's like no, like that's one of those things. I'm like, you shouldn't even, the wild side that you have, that's the side that you shouldn't even have had in the first place. But yeah, it's like you can't be growing attached to people like that. It's like eventually it's like you gonna have to let them have some sort of breathing space and things, because yeah, she got too much going on for herself. But anyways,
splitting on me, and maybe later down the line he'll come to his senses and realize that I'm not the monster he's saying I am.
Synni's response wasn't up for long. The reception was about what you would expect, and she quickly took it down and issued a community post apology. Kumo and Goblin's well-constructed defenses had fallen over like a house of cards. To make things worse, Synni's former friend Laurel would post a thread of another relationship Synni had, this time with a 15-year-old when she was 18. At one point she would ask this person out, and used the same tactics that she had done with Eno and Bug Spray. Early exposure, followed by spamming sexual fantasies, NSFW art, and showing the comics she had made. And if things couldn't get any worse, Kumo, Synni's biggest defender, had found out something he hadn't known previously. Synni had contacted another YouTuber who was working on defending her. Enter Just a Robot, established art commentary channel whose
it's you know, and I've talked on it before so here's the thing. I didn't know that he had uploaded this video because I didn't know who Synnibear, like I didn't know any of this stuff. So like if it was shown to me, I'm like, okay, it's just a robot video. What this guy do with me? I don't care about that and stuff. But then that's when I think it was just some random video and people started talking on Chud Logic. They was like, oh yeah, it's like, Chud Logic just ended Just a Robot and all this other stuff. And I'm like, fam, what is going on? Then that's when I just seen this rabbit hole and I'm like, wow, this is insane. Cause I guess for somebody that doesn't know me and you don't really know of me and Just a Robot's history, like he's somebody that I've been dealing with for years. So yeah, it's like he's somebody where he'll do any and everything in his power to try to get that person canceled. He'll tell lies about you. He'll have his fans harass you. Like he will go above and beyond and stuff. So yeah, then it's like, kind of just seeing him. And I knew that he was like on the dying end of being trying to be a successful content creator and stuff. And because he did a video on me earlier before he did this video. And before, like when he would do videos on me, his fans would bombard my comment sections, dislike rate the video and stuff. Like I could not have like a successful career and stuff. Like, I mean, it was like, if you guys know me, I upload frequently. Imagine uploading 10 to 15 videos in a day or something, right? And all of those videos get just rated with dislikes. Like, and the crazy thing about it is that the dislikes, it would be more dislikes than views. So like the videos, like you'll click on the video, right? Video will have like 20 views. It'll be uploaded for like 5 minutes, have 20 views, but it got 70 dislikes. Like explain that. So yeah, I think there is definitely some weird bot action going on with my channel. But then it was like, so that's when he was uploading videos about me at one point in time. Then when he uploaded a video on me last year, it was like, oh, okay, like it's whatever, but it's like we don't care and things. But then he uploaded this video and it just, like his channel, I guess for somebody that doesn't know of Just a Robot, so he had two channels where one was at like 200 and something thousand. The big channel was at 200 and something thousand subscribers. The other one was like over 100,000. Bro lost like thousands of subscribers in the span of a year. So yeah, man, it was crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Had seen the glory of YouTube for over 10 years at this point. Jar was interested in covering the recent drama with Synni, as he had been before with every new art commentary drama of the time. His only interactions with Synni prior were Synni citing him in his video on Spoctor and him commenting on said video. Jar had already worked on and finished a first draft of the video, in which he basically condemned Synni. But seeing Kumo streams, Jar believed that public opinion was beginning to change in favor of Synni, and without hesitation, scrapped his first draft and molded it into what would eventually become a defense for Synni's actions. He later managed to get into contact with Synni and conducted an interview for his video. With this new second draft done, Jar began sending the link around to other people to get their opinions on the video. One of them was Romantic Goblin, who obviously sent it to Kumo. And Kumo, having seen Synni talk to someone else, now felt betrayed and leaked Jar's video. Panicking, Jar then uploaded his video as the Synnibear03 rabbit hole. During the 24 hours that it was up, Jar had introduced us all to probably one of the worst commentary drama videos made in human history. This includes him lying about not reading the document even though he had, as well as defending Synni by downplaying what she sent and equating it to sexy scenes from anime.
Yeah, that's the thing where it's like people like, I guess asking me that question, like, does Just a Robot lie a lot? Yes. Like, it's either, the thing is this, he will either lie or he'll come up with something to, like, I guess, like, it's like, nah, you can't really say, like, technically it's, well, no, yeah, I guess you can't say, like, technically it's a lie. I just say that because, no, there was the time where he had one of his fans pretend to be suicidal and then reach out to me talking about, oh, I'm feeling suicidal and stuff. And I'm like, fam, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist, a psychiatrist, any of that stuff. It's like, but I did, it was, so the context behind that was that I made this tweet saying, hey, if you guys is ever feeling alone or whatever the case may be and stuff, I'm like, reach out to me, it's like, and then it was like, also like, yeah, if you're feeling suicidal, reach out to me, so, like, if you just need to have somebody to vent to and stuff. And yeah, he had his fan like spam my Twitter account just off of like 2 different accounts, just saying the same thing. I'm feeling suicidal. And I'm trying to ask them, I'm like, okay, well, what's the problem? Like, what's going on? And they just kept ignoring everything that I'm saying. I'm like, okay, well, fam, even if it would have been on some stuff where it's like, okay, like, let me help you, it's still, the only idea out of that whole situation was that they wanted to make a video on me. So yeah, that's one thing about Just a Robot, is that he'll set up stuff just so he can make a video on you, because I think that's what he was trying to do at one point in time, where he wanted me and him to me and Just a Robot to have a call. It was one of his friends, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to. If he wants to apologize, cool, but if not, then I'm like, fam, I ain't got no desires on talking to him and stuff. And then yeah, that it was like, you know, I guess there's nothing came out of that, so he couldn't upload no video. And that's why when you see the last video that he uploaded on me, and it was just, it seemed like it was a video that he just slapped together just because. And it had a lot to do with that last year I was blowing up a lot through voiceover content. And so yeah, he felt for some reason he wanted to like make a video on me and things. But I think that was another thing that he talked on, was that how, because his fans were coming over to my channel accusing me of hacking him or being behind him getting hacked. And I'm like, fam, I don't think you guys are comprehending. I don't want nothing to do with him. I'm not going to be, if my thing is this, if I have that ability to hack people, or if I know people that can hack, I'm like, fam, I'm like, if it's me, I'm going to try to get a job where it's like, okay, like the hacking can be put to use and I can get paid for it. I'm not going to be hacking some like rinky-dink YouTube channel and stuff. Just like, oh, look at this guy. It's like, fam, come on now. And then put myself in jeopardy of losing my channel. Like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's just, yeah, Just a Robot and his fan base. I guess for somebody that doesn't really know about him too much, yeah, it's one of those fan bases where it's like you'll see a lot of different things out of that fan base, from racism, sexism, what else, you know, lies. I'm trying to think, you know, harassment, threats, you know, either threats on your life, your channel, whatever the case may be, and things. Yeah, you'll see a lot come out of that channel and stuff. But you know, a lot of people, they're just not mentally there in the head. Oh yeah, and autism and dyslexia. That's something that you know, because I remember I had said that to his friend that wanted me and him to have a call. I was like, if he wants to apologize, fam, he can tweet it out, he can post a video, he could do whatever. I don't care. But I'm like, that'll be the only way. It's like if he wants to have a conversation, and then that's when his friend was like, oh, he's dyslexic. After that, I was just like, nope, that's all that I needed to hear. So
Jar constantly argued over the definition of groomer and used his distinction to excuse her as just being a sexual deviant. The video also includes a soul-sucking interview portion, and I'm being incredibly generous calling it an interview because it's basically Jar advising her on what to do and confirming all his biases, as well as saying some really cringy stuff that was even making Synni uncomfortable.
You were just a bit bi-curious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Once I kissed an Italian guy, but that's not important right now.
Way back when, I like...
It's one of those things where I just, man, you know, you can see like a bunch of different people in a crowd. Like if this was live, you would see a bunch of different people in the crowd, and you just kind of see people like looking like, what does he mean by that? What does it have to do with what they talking about? Yeah, I'm like, I feel like if this is your first time ever seeing Just a Robot, that's him. 100%. He says things where it's like, what are you even talking about? Like, yeah, you need help, bro.
Became friends with someone,
but man,
like something isn't right. And after looking at everything, I realized what you did was bad, very bad. If you were you better thank your now. If you had a PP, you would be oh man, it would not be good for you if you had a PP.
Oh man.
Yeah, but people are more forgiving.
Bro, what are you? Oh man. And I was like, and I have been dealing with this for 10 years, bro. Like I know, like going on, like I had to say, whenever he uploaded that first video about me, and I think it was probably like April, May or something like that. Yeah, it'll be 10 years since I've had to deal with Just a Robot and his fan base and stuff. And I'm like, man, you know, it's funny because I did see that he has a video, like he made a video about me. He just hasn't uploaded it yet. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. Who knows? He might upload it on the 10-year anniversary or something. But if not, then I think he realized that it's like, yeah, it's probably not best for me to upload no drama videos and stuff. Look at the last time he uploaded a drama video, and then just, you know, with this video and stuff. But Yeah, man, it's just he's like he wanted, like, no, that was a funny thing. I remember that's why the drama had went so far between me and him, is because he wanted me to help him out with a video, and I'm like, I'm not gonna help you out with no video. This was like at when we were like beefing with each other and stuff. Like, it wasn't like time had passed, or well, I guess like some months had passed and things, but it was still within the same year, 2016. And he reached out to me, but he's like insulting me in my channel and all that stuff. And I'm like, fam, why are you here? Like, he's in my comment section. It's just like, just like talking about like another drama that I was a part of. And I'm like, why are you here? Like, what reasons do you have to be here? And he's all like, oh, he was like, I want to make a deal with you, accept my advice and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I already know where this is going to go. I'm like, my thing is this: at the time being, I had only been a content creator for 6 years. And I had to say I had 1 full year to be a full-time content creator. I knew where that was going, and I'm like, I know, if you are expecting me to work alongside with you, because the YouTuber that I was beefing with, he was making a video on him, so I think he knew that, like, yeah, because I was the biggest YouTuber at the time that was making videos on that guy. It was this racist YouTuber named Minnesota Boy, so he knew that I was the biggest YouTuber. I was the one that had like the biggest voice, I guess, going to, up against Minnesota Boy, and he knew that that would do wonders for his channel, because at the time being, his channel was small. Like, I was bigger than him. So yeah, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do no video with you things. So that's when he did the video on me, and I think his fans, that's when they found like some bot where, because I remember looking that up, I was like, is there a bot that can add dislikes to a video? And yeah, there was like all these different like programs that where they could do that stuff, and I was like, huh, wow, I didn't think that that was a thing. I'm like, I don't know why you would want to add dislikes to a video, but no, yeah, I remember seeing that. If not that, then yeah, his fans was just creating a bunch of different accounts and stuff, because I do remember that his fans, they would do that. You'll block one account, then they'll just create another account just saying some like other dumb stuff. So yeah, bro, like the harassment from him and his fans, it got crazy at times. I was like, dang, man, y'all ain't got like jobs or kids or school to be going to and things. Like, this is what you guys just be doing. It wasn't like, because people think like, oh, okay, it was just probably like a few minutes out of the day or just like one. No, like it was a 24-hour period, but for 4 years straight. Like, yeah, bro, it was insane at times. I was like, you think, okay, I'll upload a video in the morning, won't change nothing. All right, I'll upload a video in the afternoon, won't change nothing. All right, I'll upload a video in the evening, won't change nothing. Middle of the night, won't change nothing. His fans made sure that they was always there to pass along some sort of harassment. So yeah, people, they're all like, oh no, you really have dealt with just a robot. Yes. it got to a point where I'm like, bruh, this is too much. Like, people, move on. But anyway,
women do this.
Whilst Kumo's tactics seemed to be about controlling the information, Jar's idea was to gather together a band of creators to defend Synni. One of those targets was Chud Logic, a drama streamer who had covered Birdie's video and Synni's document. Him just making fun of all sides involved and not taking it too seriously caught Jar's attention. As these DMs read to me, Jar saw an ally in Chud and someone he could convince to fight alongside him, but that idea would be his undoing.
It is funny because I remember him saying that he was all like, oh no, he was like, I didn't want to work with TMossBoss. Like, I didn't want to be, I didn't want to do no videos with them and stuff. It is funny how like he'll say that and then he'll stand by that, but then he'll turn around and he'll just do the same crap to somebody else. So it's like, okay, so what is it? Do you not want to work with people, or do you like do want to work with people and stuff? Because I guarantee and I promise you, let's just say that night I would have like, okay, yeah, sure. And he was like, let's do this deal and things. There definitely would have been a video involving both me and just a robot, working together and things. So that's why I'm like, yeah, a lot of the times, like when he says things, I just kind of look at it, I'm like, okay, like at the point of when we were beefing with each other, I'm like, I might not have no concrete evidence and things, but it's just like, I'm just gonna let life take its course, and you provide the evidence. And then it's funny, like when this stuff goes down, I'm like, okay, there you go. Yeah, it might have taken almost 10 years and things, but I'm like, yeah, there's the evidence, there's the proof. You just do it with other people.
With the video link, and he watched it a day later on stream, obviously lambasting it for how terrible it was. During this reaction, Kumo asked Cinny to send over her DMs with Jar, which were then sent to Chud and shown on stream. Not only was there confirmation of Jar trying to use Chud as a conduit for a defense, but also really weird messages that Jar sent to Cinny, such as flirty messages and jokes, as well as asking her to hop on a late night call so that he could fall asleep to her voice. This would lead Chud to confront Jar on stream, not only about his video points, but also on his DMs.
Well, okay, I would put to you that the behaviour exhibited here goes beyond being inappropriate and is so egregious as to not really warrant this, you know, semantic debate over whether or not it's grooming. This person was engaging in extended sexual conversations and sending them not safe for work art knowingly when they were 14 and the person was 20 and Synnibear's 20. Like, that's a bit more than inappropriate and could easily constitute grooming by some people's definitions, no? And it seemed to me like you just wanted to have a chat and have a laugh and talk about other drama and present yourself as this person who's done this before and everything's going to be okay. Don't worry, Synnibear, we're going to sort this out. It was almost like listening to a defense attorney talk to their client. In the course of pursuing this story, you spoke to Synnibear and you developed some sort of attraction or interest in them beyond the purely professional one. This has then led you to frame the video in a certain way. And this is the architect now of your pain. This connection that you've made, this non-disclosed connection, which is a complete conflict of interest and should never have happened.
I have no sexual interest in Cinny at all.
But you do, okay, actually, let's say this. Go on.
No, actually, I want to take... No. Okay. Maybe I do have sexual interest in Cinny. I mean, I'm a straight guy, come on. So I'm going to walk back on that, but...
Right, so you were trying to use...
The funny thing is, so like when the videos hadn't really came out yet about this whole situation. I had seen like clips and just kind of like some things here and there and stuff. And then, so yeah, that's when I was like, you know, a lot of people were finding me and they were just like, hey, like we've seen that you know of some things with Just a Robot. And that's when I just kind of did. I did like a couple of videos when all this stuff had started where it was like one that was warning people. I'm like, okay, so because I'm still under the impression that his fans is like, you know, still toxic and all that other stuff. And but I hadn't really, because I wasn't paying attention to Just a Robot for like years. I'm trying to think. The last time I would have to say that me and I think it was 2021. It was 2021, and I remember that was the last time I really had like seen anything Just a Robot related. But it was when I think it was Prison Mate Luke had did this video where he was saying that Just a Robot is a racist. That was the last time I seen any like Just a Robot content. From the rest of because that was like early 2021, rest of 2021, 22, 23, 24 was when like, yeah, Just a Robot kind of like had resurfaced in my, you know, my platforms and stuff. Cause he did the one video where he was like, where is TMossBoss now? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, people can look up my name and then see where I'm at and stuff. So it's like, what was the reason of doing that video? But then it was a month before he did that Synnibear video where I did call him out on a video that he uploaded where he was explaining how to get away with being a pedophile and stuff. And I'm like, fam, even if that is a video that's taken out of context, that's still weird and stuff. And then what's crazy is that, like, so he was trying to get on me for saying that. He was like, he was going to make a video on me, I guess, like, after maybe that Synnibear crap or whatever. I guess if he hadn't have gotten canceled, I think that would have been his next video, would have been on me. And, but yeah, it was like, he turns around and says it. I think it was in that last leak call that came out about him. It was either that or the one before that where he says the same thing again. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't taken out of context. You literally did the same exact thing that you did in that video where you explained how to get away with being a pedophile. So explain, what am I missing here? Yeah, it's like Just a Robot. I'm telling you guys, for somebody that's never dealt with him, he's somebody that's really weird. Like that's all I'm gonna say about that. But anyways,
my platform in order to spread your message under the auspices of, oh, I just want your feedback. That's extremely manipulative. And I'm amazed that you think I would fall for that. I'm astounded that you think you could pull a fast one on me like this.
Well, I did want your feedback. And
Who are you kidding?
I know, it's just I thought there were so many offensive videos out there why can't there be one video going in the, well, aside from Kumo, another video going in the opposite direction? Like,
but the thing is this, she's like having inappropriate conversations with a minor. Are you not paying attention to like the main? It's like you're trying to have a say-so in something, but I guess like you're turning a blind eye to the situation, and it's like you're just trying to defend her because it's like, oh, this is my friend, this is what, and that's pretty much what it was. It was like he's seen that this is somebody that he's like, oh, I can possibly befriend or whatever and stuff, but it's like, fam, you're just as weird as she is. So it's like, why? It's like you know a person is weird when you done creeped out somebody that already done did. Like, that's like having, like, if we're using that, like, defense attorney and lawyers and all that stuff, that's like the person, like, the criminal, they sitting there and stuff. And then you look over at the criminal and just be all like, hey, once I kissed an Italian man, they gonna be looking at you all like, what does that have to do with the case? It's like, yeah, bro, I'm like, hey, judge, I changed my plea. I no longer, it ain't gonna be not guilty. Throw me in prison for the rest of my life, because if this man's my lawyer pointing at just a robot, I know I'm not going to make it far and stuff. Like, he pretty much, like, this would be the scene in, like, if it was in the courtroom and stuff where the lawyer then got called out for some. Now it's like, okay, now you're gonna need a lawyer, the lawyer is gonna need a lawyer. Yeah, it's like, bro, it's just his thought process. I'm telling you, but this is what I have been dealing with for almost 10 years now.
Do you think there should be a video defending Jeffrey Epstein against his crimes?
Jeffrey Epstein, the gay serial killer, right?
No, that's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah,
Josh's terrible video gave the Synnibear case so much more publicity that it went beyond the animation meme community. If there was any chance that Synni could come back, it had been snuffed out by Jar's sheer incompetency.
Oh,
In
yeah.
the wake of this, Kumo and Goblin would confront Synni on her contact with Jar, during which Kumo essentially turns on her. According to the call, their issue was that Synni was far more happy and bright in her interview with Jar, whereas in their conversations, she presented herself as incredibly affected by the whole situation. Kumo was annoyed that Synni had basically disregarded his advice and felt she had used the group chat for comfort. They were also furious that Synni didn't tell them that she had gone on voice calls with Eno to read the comics.
I'll just be blunt with you. I have a problem with how you've effectively lied and have been performative for like the last, I don't know, almost month with me. You are not in a position to be so like careless, and you don't even try to lie to me. You only talked to Jar and continued contact with Jar because he told you what you wanted to hear and I didn't. And this, I did, honestly, in hindsight, I shouldn't have. I should have just let you go down that path. But you're freaking out that I tried to undermine Jar in your best interest. Make it perfectly clear that you were aware he was making passes at you.
I didn't think it was at the time. At the time, I thought he was just being, like, weird. I didn't think it was, like, an actual pass. Like, I was assuming that he was, like...
You're smarter,
So
you're
yeah,
smarter than you're letting
this
on.
is the same.
I thought it was weird. I didn't think it was, like, a flirt. Like,
I was like, what's going on? I can't pause. But I'm like, yeah, this is the same person, and she didn't find nothing weird with what she was doing with the minor. So that's why I'm like, your definition of what's weird and not weird, nah, it's one of those things where it's like, just based on who you are, it cancels out. You are like, I guess you cannot define what is weird and not weird. Because, yeah, it's like you're weird yourself. So
why was it weird?
because I just thought it was strange to say, because it's just not something you say.
Because you thought it was a flirt.
Not really, it's just...
Well, then why would it be strange?
However, it's hard to not see this as something else, especially with Kumo sounding like a jealous ex-boyfriend. I think there is some genuine anger in there, but it's also very evident how fast the tides were changing, and it's possible these two saw it as a very convenient smokescreen to obscure their involvement in Synni's defense. Unfortunately for them, the group chat logs would later be leaked online. But more importantly, Synni had lost her last real defenders. Following Jar's video, a lot of the community focused more on him and his weird actions. Jar had pretty much taken the heat off Synnibear, and if anything, it at least allowed her to drag down Birdie while she was going down. When Synni and Birdie had moved in together, they bought two cats for each other, one named Squirp and the other named Stupid. However, due to Birdie not wanting to put his dead name on the legal papers, Synni legally owned both cats. This was a fine solution until of course it wasn't, and as we know, Birdie would break into Synni's house and take his cat back, before then claiming...
I think I remember it, and there was like a call where Synnibear had showed up to Birdie's home and was trying to get the cat back and stuff. Like, it was like some audio recording, I think, but anyways.
Synni had taken it back away. The only issue is Synni had never taken Birdie's cat. After Birdie took one of the cats, he actually left it at the house of Queen, one of Synni's former friends, and just lied to make Synni look worse, I guess. There seems to be no reason behind this other than that, a completely unnecessary thing to do, and it gave Synni the chance to challenge it with a video of her own. In the video, she also claims that Birdie did not take good care of the cats and would often leave litter and food around on the floor, with Synni having to come home from work to tend to them. Whilst there is no proof of such a claim, Birdie does have a history of neglecting his pets, as seen with his now deceased pet ferret, Chara. Synni would then play a recording of her coming to Queen's house to retrieve the cat, only to be turned away rather than stealing it.
Hello. I'm here for my cat.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Cynthia, you're not allowed here.
What do you mean?
Cynthia, go home.
Your father let me inside. Where's
Yeah.
my cat?
I wouldn't give it to you.
I'm like, yeah, that's one thing where I'm like, usually I would tell my family if somebody's coming over and things, but I guess I don't know, maybe it's you know, I ain't trying to bring race into this, but I'm like, it's definitely a black thing where we don't be opening up the doors for nobody, you know. It's like even if the person doesn't look intimidating and stuff, we'll leave them out there knocking. We were like, oh, we don't know that individual and stuff. Now, if it's somebody that we know, then it's like, oh yeah, we'll open up the door, blah, like, hey, what's going on and stuff. But yeah, if we don't know that individual, it's like we'll look out the window and stuff and just be like, yeah, bro, we don't know that individual and things. So yeah, that's something I'm like, plus I guess like my friends and family, they don't like have no form of contact with each other. So yeah, it's like, that's something where I just, yeah, and then on top of that, we ain't gonna welcome them into the house and things like, yeah, it's just, yeah, that's again, not trying to bring race into it, but I'm just saying that's how we are. But anyways.
What do you mean?
Because she's not your cat.
Yes, she is. Where is my cat?
Cynthia, no.
What do you mean, no?
Cynthia, go home.
What do you mean, no? I have the paperwork. I can show you the paperwork, actually.
Cynthia, just because you bought this cat for Jack. You said you bought this cat for Jack.
That means literally nothing.
That does mean something. You bought this cat for Jack, yes? Is this cat yours? I mean...
Yes. Yes.
Did you buy this cat?
Yes.
Yes?
She's my cat. I spent the money. I signed the paperwork. Give me my cat.
This cat back. Didn't Jack give you the money for your cat?
I can't say that for sure. I want my cat.
How do you not know if you give? My thing is this: if I don't care if I found a penny outside, you remember things like that. It's like, oh yeah, it's like I found that penny outside, and so, yeah, you don't like, especially I don't know how much cats cost and stuff. I ain't never went out of my way to go out and buy a cat, but yeah, it's like I imagine you get some form of income for the purchase of that cat. You gonna remember that, but
Cynthia, go.
I literally gave you like a court order.
Okay, and go before I call the cops. I will call the cops, Cynthia.
Really cannot believe you.
Okay, I'll call 911 then. Go. Go.
You. God.
Go. Just go. Just go.
You.
And thank you.
Whilst the cat drama did not rejuvenate Synni's career, it certainly spelled the end of Birdie's short-lived return. Interest was renewed in his actions, and criticisms for inappropriate behaviour were met with Birdie responding by pill posting. Old characters from his past would later come back into the spotlight, and Birdie would vanish offline, having spent the GoFundMe money on MLP merch rather than housing.
Wow.
Following this, Synni would also go silent, pausing all of her comments and briefly unlisting all of her videos, before putting them back with a few obvious omissions. Synni seems to be totally focused on a real-life situation. It's unclear if she's gotten back in contact with any part of her family, but it's evident that any attempt at a comeback was futile. As said before in the intro, Synni's whole case was overshadowed by the violently explosive crescendo of her career. It wasn't just limited to these allegations. The amount of people that either threw themselves in the line of fire or just were hit by collateral damage made this so interesting. Kumo, Goblin, almost everyone from their group chat, Birdie and Synni herself are all pretty much gone. Jar is barely hanging on after everyone took his parts away. It's easy to forget that Synni was the whole reason behind this all starting, and her story beyond that shows a knocking of dominoes, a moral mainframe fading away. Stepping away from the whole timeline for a second, when I was working on this video, I originally titled this Synnibear Solitude. In fact, it might still be on the title card. And as cool of a title as that sounds, I scrapped it because it wasn't accurate. To just base this all on being lonely is downplaying it. I think it's far better to say that Synnibear lived her whole career through a victim complex. Perhaps sensitive to apply that to someone who has apparently been victimized, but that may have been the source for it. Synni spent a lot of her career known as the first good Sans fangirl, a heavy amount of praise that was deserved to some extent. But when she got into her early controversies, she would lose almost every time, and face the heat from the whole community. That heightened sense of self being utterly shattered by her own decisions was something hard to accept for her when she was young. Over time, it's obvious that as she grew up, she grew tired of being held accountable, thinking she'd already atoned by now despite these being different issues. Her humility became hubris, and she became more incentivized to just get rid of this, no matter how. The fact that she could lie and get away with it only strengthened this idea that she was now free from the eyes of the public and later her parents, any authority that would hold her to her actions. Synni felt she could do whatever she wanted, talk to anyone about anything on her mind, no matter what it was or how old they were. Ironically, that aspect of wanting to cry on everyone's shoulder was her undoing in how unintentionally popular it made her case. I still don't think Synni feels bad for what she's done. Her response, the voice clips of her
it's like, I guess, where she's at mentally, if I had to say, she's trying to figure out what she did wrong, you know, and that's the thing where it's like just overall like that, not upbringing, but I guess like when you spend a lot of time on the internet and you don't have nobody in your ear telling you like, hey, that's wrong, don't do stuff like that and things. And I mean, yeah, even it could even be on some stuff where it's like you don't have nobody in your ear telling you that. You just naturally know like what I'm doing is not right. She's not thinking along those lines. There's a lot of people on the internet where they just do stuff just because they think it's cool or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's just, you know, it hasn't really processed in her head like she did something wrong here. So
to being in calls with Enno show a very cold exterior. She doesn't feel bad because she doesn't think she did anything bad and thinks she's the victim of everyone else. It's astounding to compare the present to back in 2020, when the drama got to a point that Synni felt she had to change her name entirely, the one that she had become famous under, just to wipe the slate clean and leave the drama behind. But she never would. Instead of overcoming it and moving on, she would hold on to it, merely as a justification for promising herself the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe and stay toasty.
Birdie, yeah. There's a lot of people from that side of the internet where I'm like, dang, bro. And I'm just kind of just sitting here just looking like, dang, this is wild. I'm like, all this different stuff that's happening and things. But anyways, no, yeah, that was a pretty good video. Shout out to Toastify. Make sure if you guys haven't, definitely subscribe to their channel. Show them the most amount of love and support. Like, subscribe to me too, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.